Tonight, we celebrate the season of life.
Sunshine hope you've enjoyed that. I won't be long, I promise you I won't. But as they were doing this Seasons of Light, it's interesting. They don't tell me what they're going to do this on. They just do it. My wife doesn't. I don't even look at what they're singing about. And as I thought about that, the Seasons of Light, how God brought His Son into a dark world to shed light to people that needed it. And as I was thinking about that, 30 years later, that same light that came into Bethlehem in that manger sat down with His disciples in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5. He gives them the Beatitude, and right after the Beatitudes, He says these 3 verses, and this is what it says. He switches it over because He was the light of the world, but He turns it, He talks to these men, and He says this to them. He says, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light to all that are in the house." The verse that is probably the most powerful one out of all these is verse number 16, when it says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." And He says this to His disciples because He knows about 3 years later He is going to be hung on a cross. He's going to be crucified. He's going to be put in a tomb, but He's going to rise again. At that point, He's not going to be on this earth in human form, but He's going to be in God form. And yet He tells His disciples that they're supposed to be this light. I'm telling you right now that you have a season of light. And you must be that light that people see. In a world that is really dark right now. And I was thinking about that, and as I was listening to what Mrs. Adberger said, she said something when she was talking in her performance of Mary. She said something, and I can tell you why you can be this light. In Matthew chapter 1, when it talks about this story, it says this. When He was talking to Joseph, He talks to Joseph, and at the very end, He says in verse number 23, it says, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call His name Emmanuel." You know, can I tell you why you can be a light? Because you have Emmanuel. Because the Bible continues to say, it says, which being interpreted is God with us. I don't know what light, where you've got to shine your light this year. And I don't know what problems you'll have this year. But can I tell you something? You can be a light in a dark world because you have a Savior that's always with you. I look at this nativity scene down there, and you have the angel, you have Joseph, you have Mary, but you have the baby Jesus. And I'm going to tell you, He should be the center focal point of your life. He is that light, and He wants to do so much for you. So in 2015, when problems come, realize you have that light. You can go to it. You can talk to it. But on the other side, people are watching you to see how you respond to your problems, and you must be a light to them also. So the Seasons of Light just continues in you. And I want to encourage you this year. We'll go out and we'll see Christmas lights. I've seen some good Christmas lights. I've seen some bad Christmas lights. I've seen some lights that half of them don't work and half of them do. But can I tell you, in a world that's dark, God really needs you right now. And He wants you to be that light. With every head bowed and every eye closed, I just want to ask you a couple questions, and then I'll get to some other things real quick in the service. But can I ask you a question? How many of you really believe that God has a ministry, a job for you to do? Would you raise your hand? Can I tell you that job is this: to be a light. To be a light to a dying world, to someone that needs a little bit more brightness in their life. It might be a friend, it might be a family member, but you've got to do your job. Just as Jesus had to be born and laid in a manger, your job is significant also. And you must be that light. How many of you would say, there's going to be people around you that are going to be watching you? Would you raise your hand? All over the auditorium. That's why you must fulfill. And when you get discouraged, go back to that word, Emmanuel. God is always with you. If you could stand for us for just a second, we're going to have a short invitation. And I'll thank the choir and everything that they've done. They've done a great job. But this is what it's all about. It's not about them. It's not about me. It's about this Christ that was born in a manger. With every head bowed and every eye closed, I want you to really consider this. I don't know what's going to happen this year. But I do know God's going to be with me. I don't know what's going to happen in your life, but I can guarantee you this, that God's going to be with you. I want to encourage you to share that light with others. Lord, I think of this time of invitation that we have. Lord, may we just understand the seriousness of what this cantata was about Christ coming on the earth and everything that he fulfilled. And maybe some of the thoughts that we didn't think of as Brother Adberger was speaking of what Joseph must have thought. And then we see the pride and arrogance of Herod. Lord, sometimes that creeps into our life. Lord, let us understand that we need to be a light in a dark world. I don't know what's going to happen in 2015, Lord, but I know that nothing comes up on you that you don't know it's going to happen. And as we go through these and we step through some of these doors, Lord, may we realize that we need to be a light, and may we realize that you're always with us. May we stand when no one else stands. May we understand what Christmas is all about, and may we point people to Christ. Thank you for what you're about to do. Be with this invitation. Be with this short time that we just thank you for what you've done. Lord, if there's someone in here that doesn't know you as personal Savior, let them get that settled this evening, so we can sit down in the Bible and show them what it means to be saved and have that light in their life. May we not walk out of this room without having that light. Lord, may we have